Zoom and on Audacity.
Okay, I'm hitting record on Audacity.
Alrighty.
All right.
I'm letting this plane pass by that's really loud for some reason.
Wow, that is really loud. It's like low to the ground.
Yeah, I think it's a helicopter. I don't know. Go away.
Did you already send her the link?
Yeah. I send it whenever I send it to you because it's the same.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. It's almost gone. Okay. Greetings, boys and babes. It's the Magic Hour, a place where we navigate through life's peaks and valleys with all the vulnerability and shamelessness we can muster. With the help of world-class guests from all walks of life, we uncover new truths and valuable tools for manifesting our highest potential. I'm your host, Mercedes Terrell, along with my partner in shine, Jade Bryce.
Hey, you guys. We've got a really fun episode for you today because it's all about how to please a woman in bed. We want every man listening to walk away from this episode feeling more confident in the bedroom, and every woman listening to come away from this owning her sexuality a little bit more.
Yeah, such important info we got coming at you today. It's our hopes that you'll gain a few tools from this episode on how to please your lover and gain a little courage to ask questions about what your lover may want.
Yeah.
So let's get it on. I mean, her on, shall we?
Sarrah Rose is the founder of Tantric Activation. She's a certified sex coach and specializes in men's sexuality. As a sex coach, Sarrah works with men to help them become advanced lovers and sexual masters. Sarrah understands that sexuality is linked to confidence in all areas of life, and from premature... Hey, I'll just start that over because I actually needed to ask you how to pronounce the lineage name.
Hi, Sarah.
I wonder if she can see us.
I can't hear her yet.
Okay, I hear
There
you.
you are. Okay.
I want to move this chair though because I don't love this light behind me. Let me turn it this way.
Okay.
Just got to my hotel a little bit ago.
I need to work on my posture.
I know.
My neck
Look at
hurts.
me.
Because we're always on the podcast and I'm always like this.
I know.
Like really tuning in.
Me too.
I need to... Oh, that looks good.
Is that better?
Yeah.
I'll be right back, guys. 1 second.
The light in my face.
I'll be right back.
Okay. She's got toddlers. I can hear one of them screaming. They're supposed to be asleep, but doesn't always work out like that.
Of course. I have 2 of my own.
Where are you now?
I'm in LA right now.
Oh, cool.
I live in Austin though. Where do you live?
I'm in Orange County. Jade's in Austin.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I'm nearby where you're at. What are you doing in LA?
I'm doing a promo video actually for a anal sex toy company.
Oh, that's fun. That hotel has a lot of artwork, I feel like, for a hotel.
For the price.
Yeah. Is it Airbnb or is it a hotel?
No, it's a hotel. It's
Wow.
the Nomad. It's like a 5-star. It was pretty expensive.
Yeah. I don't know of it, but I don't go to LA that often, to be honest, even though I'm right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How do you pronounce your lineage?
Which lineage?
The Jean-Jacques Mikado?
Jiu-jitsu, it's John, just like John.
Jean-Jacques Machado or Mikado? Jean-Jacques Mikado.
Machado. Yeah.
Do you want to write
Jean-Jacques Machado?
Or the way it sounds for you, Jade?
Jean-Jacques Machado. Jean-Jacques Machado.
Yeah.
Jean-Jacques Machado. So the only thing that was different was Jean. So it's John. Jean-Jacques Machado.
Okay.
1 second. Give me one. What is that? Okay. You can hear me all right?
Uh-huh.
Cool.
So you just check your audio on the bottom left of Zoom's screen where you see us there. There's like a little, it says mute, but right next to it is an arrow. Click that.
Okay.
And then it should tell you you're on your, I guess you don't have did she get a mic, Jade?
It was the one that was returned.
Oh shit. Okay, so then you're just in built-in out or input and built-in output, or what does it say for you?
MacBook Air microphone, external headphones.
Okay. Should be okay. All right. Usually we get a mic to you guys, but sometimes.
Yeah, for some reason,
Hello.
Amazon said that it got damaged. So,
Sucks.
sorry about that. Okay, so, Mercedes, you want to start from the top or just start at her bio?
Let's just start at her bio. We don't, I mean, either way, really, but I think let's just start at her bio because, yeah, hold on 1 second so I can read this before we start doing that.
Okay.
Okay, and so you're still recording on Audacity, right, Jade?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I'm ready when you are.
I'm ready.
All right, ready? Sarrah Rose is the founder of Tantric Activation. She's a certified sex coach and specializes in men's sexuality. As a sex coach, Sarrah works with men to help them become advanced lovers and sexual masters. Sarrah understands that sexuality is linked to confidence in all areas of life, and from premature ejaculation to difficulty getting hard to porn addiction to inability to bring their woman to orgasm, Sarrah guides men through these issues and more so that they can reach their goals. It's also worth mentioning that she's a jiu-jitsu athlete in the Jean-Jacques Machado lineage, all the while training men to be black belts in bed. Please help me welcome Sarrah Rose to the show.
Hey!
Hey!
What's up, Sarrah?
I'm so glad to be here.
We're glad to have you too.
2 badass women. I love
it.
3. So, Sarrah, let's get right into it because we have so much to cover here. So I noticed
really
that, yeah,
really
so
do.
much.
Funnel down your questions, and there's still a lot. So
yeah.
hang with us.
I noticed that a lot of what you offer actually starts with working with the inner child and healing and looking at core needs and core wounds. Talk to us about how this goes into a man's confidence in the bedroom.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, men in modern society have a lot of pressure sexually, and they have so much societal expectations and so much around what it means to be a man, what that looks like, how he's supposed to perform in bed and work and marriage and fatherhood, all of this. And it really does start with the inner child because boys are affected by this from a young age, just comments like, grow up, be a man, act your age, things like that. And they start to shape men to be a certain way. And it affects us in bed, everything, And so part of the work that I do with men in private coaching does go back into that inner child work. So that way they can begin to look at that piece of them and find their authentic self rather than just projecting what they've literally been brainwashed by in society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot to take on. Generally, as a coach, that's a lot of stuff to help someone dig through. And I feel like when it comes to the male of the species, they're even more resistant to looking into those places in themselves because of the, we want to call it masculine, culture that they're raised in or whatever. It's a hard place to start, and that's where you need to start. So that's a tough battle. I bet you're fighting with that.
It's really interesting. It's cool because women are leading the way with this. Like there are so many really strong, empowered women who are standing up and saying, guys, we want you to do this work.
That's what I was thinking. Women are saying that this is what we're attracted to now. And so men it's becoming,
to it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so women are really changing the dynamic of the way sexuality is experienced. And a lot of guys feel like they don't know what to do in this new paradigm of the sexually empowered woman. And so I'm able to really help and guide them there, in a way that I approach sexuality very frankly and with good humor and also with good sensitivity. And guys can often resonate with me because I'm able to get them into the mind of the modern woman, into the body of the modern woman in a way that they haven't been able to find access before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what you're doing, and we're going to dive way deeper into it, but what you're doing is a huge expression of feminism. I mean, of what feminism is and the feminist movement is. And that's, being this safe place to let all people, include men very much included, express who they really are so that they can get to the root of whatever their things that are ailing them and move forward and progress forward. And I think that really is what the feminine quality that women, tend to reside in brings to this planet. Like, I think that's what the feminist movement should be about. I mean, there's a lot of other ways that it's being misconstrued right now, but I really appreciate the way that you're standing up for modern masculinity and being a voice for that, because I think it's something that's lacking in a big way right now. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
well said,
thank
Mercedes.
you.
I looked up your couples coaching and browsed through some of the session topics. So I wanted to just touch on a few here because I got to know a little more about them. So couples breathwork, it's a more straightforward one, but then there's sandboxing lovemaking, or sandbox lovemaking. Is that what it is? Sandboxing lovemaking.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, pussy and penis massage, which I can imagine what that is, but can you just touch on these a bit for me? And by the way, everything I say seems like a sexual pun now, so can you
I know.
touch on these also?
Can you just touch on these?
So a lot of what I teach is proprietary information passed down to me through my coach. And so some things I'm only able to discuss in private coaching, but pussy and penis massage, that is pretty straightforward. And it's such an amazing connective experience that is really, I love it for all couples. And it's a time when the couple can just be together sexually, but without any expectations. And so it's an entire hour devoted to him giving her internal massage in her vulva, her vagina, cervix. All of it is being stimulated, but without any expectation of reciprocation. Like she's not expected to pleasure him. She's not expected to orgasm. She's not expected to have pleasure. She's just there having the experience of whatever comes up for her. And it's very, very healing. It's also referred to as de-armoring the vagina, because the vagina can hold so much trauma from all of the experiences of sexual harassment, sexual abuse. Just living in a sex negative culture causes women to basically like harden in a way their vagina. So they numb out, they desensitize, they're not really able to experience pleasure because they hold so much in the soft tissue there. And so this experience allows them to be able to heal that. And then for men, it's her giving him testicle massage, penis massage, also for an hour. And the whole thing is guided. So it's actually a video that shows them step by step. This is what you do now. This is what you do now. This is what you do now. And it's guided audio. And so it helps the couple be able to go through it in a very relaxed way. And it's really healing for both. Many guys that have, that struggle with erectile dysfunction, they can't get hard. Like, sex can be very stressful, on the couple. And this is a way for them to connect intimately and also to work towards healing that in a holistic way together as a couple.
Wow, that's really interesting. And for some reason, it made me think of when you brought up men having issue with erectile dysfunction, it being such a stressful thing. Do you think that's one of the driving factors of porn addiction today? Because, I mean, that's a much easier way to go about getting off instead of being with an actual human, right?
Yeah, I think that there is some link between the two, because, because of the pressure that men are under societally to perform as these sexual beings, it is easier to just watch porn. And then they watch porn, or they start watching porn from a young age, and they become habituated to orgasming in that way, in that environment. And so it can become more difficult to get hard with a live woman.
Right.
And so, like, I definitely don't think the porn is a negative thing. Like, I think there can be value in porn, but I just encourage guys, like, or let them actually see that what results do you want to get, right? Like, are you happy with the results you're getting watching porn? Or is that what you're excited about? Is that what your true desire is? Then great, do that. But if your real desire is to be with a woman, to have intimacy with her, to be able to, experience deep pleasure between the two of you, let that be a majority of your experience. So if you're doing like a 50-50 split, I would say, even do like 60% being with a woman, 40% porn. Just have your majority be in the direction that your real desire is.
What about, I know you said the couples breath work you can only talk about in your training, but I was curious if, like, we've talked with a couple guests before that we've had on the show where you sync your breathing. Do you notice like a dramatic change in the sex when couples do that prior?
Yeah, absolutely. And breath work is a very important part of Tantra. And there are quite a few different tantric breaths that couples can do together.
Oh.
But yes, synchronizing the breath is a really good thing. And it helps when couples do that, even if they just set aside like 5 minutes of doing that before they begin to make love, then it helps them connect with more intimacy, more connection, and the whole experience ends up being more beautiful. And they just get more out of it. There's more richness to sex. And then, if they have been trained and they know the different breath techniques, they can actually do that while they're having sex.
Oh.
And that gets really cool.
How would you introduce like syncing your breath to someone that's never even heard of Tantra, and they've become your partner and you're like, want to sync a breath with them? How would you introduce that to them?
Well, I think most people have I shouldn't say most, but a lot of people have at least heard of Tantra. They might have a strange idea of what it actually
That's what I think most people have, is a strange idea.
Yeah, it's a foreign thing, and it's not for me because it's, foreign is scary somehow.
I know, exactly. And that's kind of my mission, is making Tantra just accessible to everyone. It doesn't have to be something weird at all. Literally, the foundational components of what I teach people are breath, movement, focus, and sound. Like, how foreign is that?
Yeah.
It's not. It's just the way we put it together in a specific way for specific intentions. And so it's something that is really accessible to everyone. But an easy way to start breath work with a partner is sitting across from them, just like knee to knee, eye to eye. And you can look each other in the eye and just begin inhaling and exhaling at the same time, just synchronizing your breath in a very simple way. That's a good place to start.
I would assume most guys want to be open to improving their sex life, so they'd be open to something that seems, a little out there for their, from their experience. But
most men I've been with would not want to sync our breath.
No,
not all, but most. I think it would have felt too like forced for them. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure why.
Have you experienced that a lot, Sarah, in your work, that people have resistance to it?
Yeah, guys definitely do have resistance until they experience it.
It takes a lot of vulnerability.
But once guys have a lot of curiosity because they're curious. They want to know, like, how is this going to make me better in bed? Because every guy wants to be better in bed. And I mean, most chicks do too. Like, it's just something like, we want to be better in bed. But once they actually experience once they're able to have, take the risk, I guess, take the plunge and realize it's really not that weird and it actually does help, they kind of get hooked. They're like, okay, that was good. I like it. Let's do it again.
That's funny.
Makes sense.
I was also extremely intrigued by your Sex Stallion course topics, and I'll list them here for our listeners, and you can let us know what you can talk about. But it's strengthening your PC muscle, edging, separating orgasm from ejaculation, multiple, perpetual, and full body orgasms. And I know you can't fit 7 weeks of training into an episode, but if you can just give us maybe some cliff notes, so that people know what they would, I guess, expect too.
Yeah, so Stallion training is my core product that I recommend for all guys. These are the basics. These are the fundamentals of tantric sex. In this 7-week series, they will get how to sound, how to move, how to focus, and how to breathe in a way that benefits them sexually. And what they'll realize is that most of what they've been doing in these areas during sex have actually been inhibiting them sexually. It's been limiting their sexual experience. And one of the things I tell guys is their cocks are so powerful and they are literally like only utilizing them about 10%.
Wow.
And yeah. And it's like the amount of power that they have, the energy that they have, the way they can penetrate a woman with their cock, like the way, like what their cock is actually, the way their cock is actually designed to penetrate a woman, like not just the physical, but like emotionally, like how they can really just go so deep inside of her. And these principles, these techniques will help them to get there. And so I incorporate those. And then, yes, it is strengthening their PC muscle. It's that muscle between their anus and their balls. They have to have that muscle strong. And with age, it gets weaker and weaker. But that muscle is the muscle that controls ejaculation. So many guys struggle with premature ejaculation. About 75% of guys ejaculate within 1 to 3 minutes of penetration. Strengthening this muscle.
That is just that muscle being weak.
So that is part of it. It's also habituation, the way that they've masturbated since they were 12 years old, getting off as quickly as possible. So, that way they don't get caught, that type of thing. But it's also genetic. So if you think about, being back in tribal society where they're like out in this primitive environment, they could get attacked by a tiger. Like it was in our benefit for the guy to ejaculate quickly. We didn't want to be out there making love for 4 hours, right? You're in a vulnerable state. So so those genes got passed on because also, the more quickly a guy ejaculated, the more likely his sperm would get inside of her. And so those are the genes that got passed on. So, fast forward however many thousands, billions of years, and here we are. And now women are like, we actually don't like that. We've got to rewrite the code that we have in there. And luckily, Tantra is a good hack to doing that. It really helps.
So strengthening the PC muscle. What is edging?
Edging is so when guys are masturbating, Sex Stallion training is a masturbation-based course. So it's a guided audio. I'm guiding them. They're listening to it while they masturbate, and it's step by step. Do this, do this, do this. So I will lead them on a scale of 1 to 10. 10's ejaculating, 0 is having lunch with grandma. And
visually amazing. Okay. Baseball, cold showers. Margaret Thatcher wet on a cold day.
Right. So at I'll have them get hard to like a 6 or a 7, and they're kind of keeping it right there. And then I'll bring them up to an 8 or a 9, and then have them go back down, back up, back down. And that just trains them to be able to control their ejaculation. Most guys, they get this runaway train sensation where it's like, I gotta come, I gotta come, I gotta come, I gotta come. It's like their dick takes over and they have no control. Done.
Yeah,
and
what is that? Are they afraid it's never going to happen again?
I know. Because I am.
Yeah.
I am afraid for me.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
On behalf of women everywhere, we're all afraid of that.
Yeah.
I had never heard of edging. And so that must go into also separating orgasm from ejaculation, because are you teaching them to abstain from ejaculation so they can have multiple orgasms, or?
Yes. So I don't teach them to not ejaculate, because it's actually really healthy for a guy to ejaculate. There are some traditions of Tantra that teach a guy to not ejaculate. If that's his preference, go for it. I personally incorporate modern science with what I teach, and modern science urologists will show over and over again, the more guy ejaculates, the healthier he is, the longer he's going to live, the less prone to prostate cancer. Yeah, so ejaculation is good. In Indian yogic tantra, it's really ejaculation of both male and female is very celebrated. So ejaculate all you want, but what I do teach is how to be in control of the ejaculation. And so one of the things that most people don't realize is that ejaculation and orgasm are two separate acts, and they have evolved to happen almost simultaneously, because nature wants us to experience the pleasure of orgasm at the same time they're ejaculating, to entice men to ejaculate in order to procreate. And so, but they're actually two separate acts, and orgasm typically occurs slightly before ejaculation does. And so when guys start to realize this, they can notice it. And with a strong PC muscle, with the practice of edging, they can actually have the orgasm, and then they can stop the ejaculation from happening. And once they're able to do that, then they can begin to have multiple orgasms like a woman can. And they're able to have full body orgasms. They can begin moving the sexual energy through their body. And most guys find that when they really master this, it feels much better than just the typical ejaculation, which I've heard so many guys describe as it's really just feels like a crotch sneeze. And when they, after they've had tantric orgasms, they're like, wow, I don't ever want to go back to that again.
Oh my goodness. How about for a woman? Is a tantric orgasm different than a regular orgasm for a woman?
Yes, absolutely. So women can orgasm in all parts of their bodies. I'll never forget the first time I had a heart orgasm. And yeah, it literally felt like my heart was just,
oh my God. How did you have that?
So it's through moving sexual energy. Women edge also. So that's part of the tantric practice for women, is like bringing yourself to the brink of orgasm, and then backing off, up and down. So you're really building up those orgasmic sensations in the body, and through breath and through focus, moving the sexual energy to different parts of the body. And so you can have orgasm in your throat, you can have orgasm in your third eye, in your crown, like you can orgasm.
It's like focusing on that part of the body while you're about to orgasm.
And it's bringing, but it's focusing it there. So it's bringing the energy up through with your breath and your focus to that part of the body. And then you actually, that sexual energy that you usually feel in your genitals is now moved to that part of your body, such as your heart. And so you can have the orgasm there.
Man, I really want to learn this.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It makes me think of like Kundalini practice, or
a little bit, huh?
Moving the snake. Yeah.
I every morning I like tune into my 7 chakras before I get out of bed. And then when my kids are napping is my masturbation time in bed. And so now I'm thinking like I'm going to be focusing on my 7 chakras during that. But that it sounds like that's takes time to figure out syncing.
So, you can actually learn it more quickly than most people think. So
Mhm.
it does take practice. It does take, some dedication to do it. But it's I remember when I was working with my coach, I actually was like, I'm going to go to Tulum for 2 weeks by myself and do these practices that she had given me. And I was able to really get that within about a week. Like, it didn't
Oh,
take
wow.
that much time.
Wow.
So if you really focus on it, I mean, granted, I was doing the practices all day,
Yeah.
every day. It's like just
This is
masturbation.
homework.
Yeah.
Rough life. Someone's
Yeah.
got to do it.
But exhausting
Oh
Man, I
my
nonetheless.
love your
gosh.
job.
All in a
Yeah.
day's life.
You got to go
Um,
on that show, Dirty Jobs. It's a whole nother.
oh, that's really funny.
All right. So what can we do as women to own our sexuality in a way that makes a man more confident in the bedroom?
It is a two-way road. Most of my like my online course and my private coaching, those are for men. If you see my Instagram, it's all focused towards men. And so a lot of guys will come to me and be like, well, doesn't she need to know this too? And it's like, yeah, so it is a two-way street for sure. Because of the society that we live in, that is male led, male dominated, women are accustomed to, and we actually have it in our DNA now from so many thousands of years of doing this, that we follow the lead of the man. And so I find that when a guy is trained in Tantra, a woman will naturally follow his lead with it. And also, women tend to feel energy, these things more easily than men do. And so it's easier for them to kind of pick up on it. Whereas if a woman is trained in it and a guy doesn't get it, it's kind of like, let's just have conventional sex because it's just not going to happen. That's always my thing. I'm like, if I'm with a guy that isn't trained in Tantra, I don't even go there. I'm just like, all right, conventional sex, we're just gonna fuck and have fun. But women really need to heal their core wounding. We have so much wounding in the feminine. There's so much anger towards the masculine that needs to heal. And it's very valid. It's very righteous anger. And we can't just stay stuck in that place. We've got to heal. We've got to move through it so that way we can all get to the place where we really want to be. And so many women have a hard time orgasming. When I teach my women's class that I do every fall in Austin, it's an in-person class, a lot of women come in and they've never had an orgasm during sex before.
I was just about to ask if that was normal. I have not either.
Yeah.
I can only orgasm during oral or penetrate, like, through the clitoris, but I've never orgasmed during sex.
Yeah. And a lot of women experience that. And again, that's two-part, it's like women can train their bodies to be able to orgasm during sex, and guys need to, be able to do a better job of getting them there as well. But I went a really long time without having orgasm during sex. And now, even if I'm with a guy who's not a good lover, I can still orgasm just because I've trained my body in that way.
What are some ways to train it?
Just having lots of orgasms.
Oh, really?
Just practice, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had more in the last few weeks by myself than I've had in years. So maybe I'll get there then. That gives me hope.
And doing the de-armoring practices, I work with...
Which is the massage?
So it's a massage. If you do it with another partner, when I teach women, they do it with a glass dildo. And so I'll actually lead them through the process of de-armoring their vagina with using a glass dildo.
Why glass?
Just because it doesn't have any toxins. It's clean material. I encourage women to not use any vibrators during the time that we're working together, because we're really working on increasing sensitivity, and vibrators can decrease sensitivity. And so the glass just kind of helps that process.
How do we get men off the idea of wanting to just, ram it in right away and not take the time to slow down and make sure that the girl is on board and ready and, wet enough and all the things that you need to be in order to receive pleasurably?
Women just need
advertisement.
what's
PSA.
that?
This needs to be the show's advertisement.
It really is. And it comes down to women speaking up. Guys just don't know. They don't get it. And, if there's a guy that you're speaking up to and he just doesn't respect that, then you need to fucking walk away. And the more women realize the power of the pussy, the faster this world is going to change. Because, it's like, if I've definitely met guys that just don't respect it. And I'm like, fuck you, get away from my body. Like, literally, like, you're not coming anywhere near here. Done.
And
don't ever call me again.
Causes it to harden. When you've been with someone that barely kisses you before ramming it in, like Mercedes said, then you're right. There is a hardening there that, like, then it's like almost like, well, is my sex drive gone? And it's not gone. It's just because it's been hardened, and then you have to armor, like you said.
I feel like too, we talked about this a little bit with Milk, a former guest of ours, and she talked about the fact that whenever, from her past experiences from when she was younger and being in a relationship that wasn't healthy, she had hardened essentially to men in the sense of every time they would come before her, or if they would in any way, like we're saying, I don't know if you want to call it forceful with it, but it's, it's before you're asking for it. Essentially, it's before you're like really begging for it, which I think guys listening, wait till the chick is begging you for it. That's the right time, and not before then. That's the right time to
But then that's also what she said with them leading, because I noticed, because I'm still working out of, I have felt sexually suppressed for a long time, and I'm still working my way out of that. But I noticed that I struggle with making, like, initiating sex. And that's something that I want to gain, I wouldn't say gain confidence in, but just feel more, I don't know.
Brazen? Wait, before we answer that question, I do want to finish my thought with Milk, because the point was that her story was that she noticed that every time a man would come at her that way and be basically come before her, especially, and I bring that into my own life where it's like wanting to ram it in before I'm ready for it. That feels like you're just using my body. And that's what Milk's point was it felt like she was just being used at that point. It wasn't a mutual thing. It was all about one person, so how do we take that selfishness away? Like, how do we change that aspect of it? I don't know. I don't know. It's frustrating.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, every time that they, go inside of us before we're ready, anytime they come before we're done and they're done before we're done, it just leaves us feeling let down. And in relationship, it really it cuts off the trust, because if a woman can't trust him in bed, she's going to feel like she can't trust him in life. And so it really does impact the relationship in a big way. And so, guys really need to understand that, like, if they want to have a woman that is all over them, like wanting them, then they need to show up in bed. And so we're definitely past the days of women being dependent on men. Like, we can totally survive without a guy. We go into a relationship. We go into a relationship with men now out of desire, not out of necessity. And so in order for us to have these thriving relationships that we now can rightfully declare that we desire,
and deserve.
It takes both parties really showing up.
And that actually answers my question already, because when, like you were saying, it feels when they do that, then I don't remember the words you used that it makes you feel, but it makes me feel like undervalued. Like, okay, you don't want to please me, so you must not
Give a
really
shit about me. Yeah.
hold me in a high regard. Like you're gonna let yourself be pleased, and then here I am, like, so I'm
It's
just realizing,
degrading in a sense, right?
yeah, it is,
Mhm.
right? And so you feel forgotten and like unprioritized. So have I'm noticing with the lovers I've had who did please me every time, I did initiate it because I wanted to be pleased too,
That's a good
So I'm
point.
noticing now that majority though of the lovers I've had, or the lovers I've had for long periods of time that did not please me, I just got out of practice of initiating it because it felt so one-sided already. Like, well, what, you
That's an
know,
interesting concept. I wonder, what
the chicken
if
or the
we,
egg?
no, I just wonder if that would be how many people overall that would apply to in the situation that you hear over and over again of my wife no longer wants to have sex with me. It's like, okay, but did you ask yourself the question of, are you a giver? Have you been
Yeah,
really giving in bed with her? Is there a reason why she
that's a
would want
really
to have
good
sex with
point.
you?
Yeah.
It's no longer
There
about.
was one man I was with that he would give me like 13 orgasms every time, and I wanted to have sex. That was when my sex drive was the strongest. So it makes perfect sense if you're making sure that is that right, Sarah, or is there another reason why women
Oh no,
did not?
you're absolutely right. And that's women, they just shut down. It's exactly like you said. And I get message after message after message from men saying, what happened? Why doesn't she want to have sex with me? It used to be great and she doesn't want to have sex anymore. I'm
But it
like,
wasn't great
well,
for her, huh?
it wasn't great for her,
Yeah.
and her body shuts down. She loses interest. She gets bored. Also, that's the other thing. It's like,
So how do we get men to understand this without putting so much pressure on them that they shut down?
Mm.
well, I mean, I think there's a different type of pressure, right? So the societal pressure of a guy being like this, this sexual fantasy of, you know what it is, just like
He's always
the
got to be ready. He's got to throw me against the wall. He's got to be the
yeah, just like the throbbing hard cock all the time. Like there's that, but then there's the real pressure of like most guys are in relationship with a woman and they want to be desired by her. And so I don't think that's really pressure, that's more reality.
Hmm.
And and so like these guys that message me, they want her to want them, like who doesn't? That's attractive. You feel like you're a sexual god if she desires you, or and that's another thing for women. Like a women's desire really thrives on feeling desired too. And so if she's going to get turned on if she really feels like he's really into her. And so if a guy's, kind of slipping and being lazy and expressing his desire for her, she's just kind of going to be like, he's not really into me. I'm not really turned on. So
Yeah, I feel like there's a serious correlation. I mean, it's not a correlation. Part of nurturing a relationship and showing up for a relationship is showing up for your sex life and nurturing your sex life and making sure that that is just as sound as everything else going on in your relationship. So I guess maybe the way to think of it is, guys, if you're okay with going to read a relationship book or go to counseling or whatever the thing is that might help your relationship get to the next level that you want it to get to, or even just sitting down and talking to your chick and maybe making a date night every week. I don't know what stage of your life and relationship you're in, but similarly, how would you take that into the realm of sex with your significant other? How would you find ways to nurture it, whether it be read or go, read a tantric book or go take one of your class, your workshops or whatever it is. But these are all ways we work on our relationship, and sex is such an integral and important part of
It takes a
relationship.
lot of vulnerability for people to break out of that stage because
Mhm.
they feel like they just to even ask the questions. Like I'm curious what questions a woman can ask a man and what questions a man can ask a woman
Yeah.
besides just how can I please you? Like what is a more specific question each of them can ask? But it's almost for some people it's like so uncomfortable to ask the question, you
Mhm.
know?
'Cause
mm-hmm.
how do you jump that, or how do you take that
Yeah.
leap, you mean?
Yeah, one of the exercises that I love to give couples, because it doesn't necessarily have to be just about sex. It can be all parts of their life, but it really opens up communication between them. Is what are your deepest fears and what are your deepest desires? And just allowing the partner to open up in that space of just going for it. What are my deepest fears, and letting those come to surface. And then, and like, not even talking to, not replying or saying, oh, okay, or anything like that, just listening, just holding space for your partner, and then reciprocating and saying what your deepest fears are, and then switching it up and saying, what are your deepest desires, and allowing your partner to respond, and then going back and forth with that. And that helps couples a lot, because it gives you a set space of, okay, this is what we're going to do right now. We're having this discussion at this point in time, and we're able to open and connect intimately without any pressure of sex. And we agree beforehand, we're not going to argue, we're not going to get offended, we're not going to interrupt, we're just going to allow each other to express. And communication is so important. And most people have a really, 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 really hard time talking about sex. Because everyone is expected to be having a great sex life, and most people aren't.
It feels sacred. It feels sacred. So even though it seems like we should, I don't like that word, be able to ask these questions, because it feels so sacred, it just opens up that feeling of vulnerability.
I would say that because so many of us, especially in this culture, come from a background of shame, that we are afraid essentially to talk about this stuff, because shame is not only, maybe religious shame or whatever, of feeling good and being worthy of having sexual desires and being worthy of feeling orgasm and that type of thing, but also the shame of not being able to perform the way that we think we're supposed to be able to perform with
or how about they give us an answer that we don't feel like we can do, like
I don't think that I think that most people are like up for it, like they're down to listen to what their partner has to say, and maybe even are up for it. Maybe if it's something way out there for them, it's scary, but it's probably something they're still willing to listen to. I think it's about a matter of not knowing how to do it yet. It, especially for men, is scary. For women, it's kind of like not knowing how to do it yet makes you like virginal, and somehow that's sexy, and
innocence is cute.
And it's the opposite for men. They need to have like been so experienced in all these ways and be an expert in all these things, and it's shameful if they're not.
So Sarah, what would be a question sexually about how to please a woman, how to please a man, besides just the simple how can I please you, that would be more specific?
How can I please you would be more specific. I mean, I think, I even got asked that question today. Like, what do you want tonight? Like, what is it that gets you off? And, even me, I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like, what am I supposed to say to this?
That's why like more specific. More specific. Maybe it will help the man do it.
Right.
Right. And so I know for myself, it's not as much about the act. It's not, we don't need to plan on spanking tonight, or we don't need to plan on hair pulling or, double penetration or whatever it may be. Like, and those things could very well happen. And, I would be ecstatic about it. And is there connection there? Is there intimacy?
I got chills just when you said connection.
It's like, am I being seen?
Right.
And that's what I try to help guys understand.
That's so good.
It's like learning all the techniques. That is important. I'm not devaluing them, because they need to know the techniques. They need to know how to bring a woman to orgasm. Okay. But once they learn it, they need to fucking forget it, because so many guys get fixated on is she receiving pleasure? Is she having an orgasm?
I can't unless I feel connection in the first place. So
exactly. And so it's like, I teach guys, like, they have to know themselves, right? Because if you don't know yourself, if you haven't come face to face with your own soul, your own authentic self, how are you going to go come face to face with hers? And that's really what she desires. And that's what tantric sex helps guys.
Yeah, that's the
do.
sexiest thing there is. Yeah.
It is.
It makes me think of sexual polarity and the feminine polarity being defined by wanting to feel seen and heard. And so if you can just keep that in mind, guys, that females want to be seen and heard. That is their number one root goal because they're ruled by feminine energy. So how can you make someone feel seen and heard? You have so many options at your disposal, but just even by asking the question to your woman, what would you want? I want to, know the things that turn you on, isn't such an intimate and loving question that just that is like exciting for her.
It does. But what I really see with what in relationship though, is that guys that are willing to do their own deep internal work, guys that are willing to face their own shit, guys that are willing to get vulnerable with themselves. The guys that I work with in private coaching, we do 10 weeks, one-on-one for an hour a week. And these guys fucking face their demons, right? And they come out of it and women are like, whoa. Because they are like, these are the sexual masters. Why? Because they know themselves. And you cannot know another person if you don't even
how will we know them?
Yourself.
Yeah, intimacy, intimacy. How? Yeah.
And so that's really the key of it all, is knowing yourself. And the lovers that I've had that have been the most profound lovers are not the ones that know all the special techniques. Yeah, I've had the dudes that can make me squirt and drench the bed. I've had, like whatever it may be, like, and it's fun. It's great. I enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with it. And does it really meet my true desires? No. But I've had lovers that maybe they didn't know the fancy techniques, but they could meet me in such a deep place of intimacy. And that is what really filled me up. That's what really finally satiated me.
I like that. So, and before we move on to our next question, I just wanted to tack on to the end of what we were talking about earlier with the way that we as women can own our sexuality in a way that makes men more confident in the bedroom. That there is a lot of hormonal fluctuation that comes into play with women, and knowing ourselves too in that situation is, I think, a huge step. Not just knowing, doing the work on our inner child, doing the work on our subconscious and everything that's going on in there, but knowing how our physical bodies and chemical bodies are responding throughout the month. Because, I for sure know that there are days of the month where I have extremely high sexual appetite, and then days where it's waned quite a bit. And if your partner is not in tune with that as well, your male partner is not in tune with that as well, then he just thinks you just don't like him some days. That's serious. Like, men don't think about this stuff. We're going to talk about that more in my magic trick later on this episode, but when I'm not turned on hormonally, like when I'm not sexually charged hormonally and I'm in the part of the month I could like give or take, and like I'm not into sex that way. But guys don't know the damn difference. They're not necessarily tracking your cycles.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that's an important part for men to also keep in their back pocket, we're hormonal beings, we're chemical beings, all of us. Men have their own cycles too, but knowing what your chick is doing hormonally in that moment is going to be like, you're going to be, I think it was Mel Gibson who did that movie, What Women Want. You're going to know, you're going to be like psychic to her in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So we have a question from our magic mob. Eric Godsey, a previous guest of ours, asks, what has she found to be the most useful practical practice she gives men that improves their sexual performance?
Testicle massage. That
Okay.
is very, very, very important for men. And it's something that I wish every single man would do every day of his life.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's really, yeah, it's very important. What it does is it really helps connect a man to his sexuality, to his sex center, and it helps him integrate that into his daily life. And our sexuality is so powerful, right? And if we go into the world with this turned on sexuality, and it's in a really like healthy, channeled way, we're so empowered, and there's so much that we can accomplish. And many men, because of sexual abuse, because of living in a culture that identifies men as rapists, living with erectile dysfunction, living with premature ejaculation, so many men get cut off from their sex center. And so what testicle massage does is it helps reconnect them to it. And many guys that have a hard time getting turned on, getting hard, they will find that the blood flow starts to increase there. They'll find that they're able to actually feel. I've gone into private coaching with men who, when I ask them to scan their body and tell me what they feel in their penis area, they don't feel anything. It's become completely desensitized. They are completely cut off from that area of their body. They disassociate because it's really painful to experience the pain that's going on there. So it's just easier to disassociate.
So that's like, so the intimacy triggers something in their subconscious, probably from their young childhood or whatever it is that they're tucking away, and so that's why they've cut it off. Or what is the...
It could be many reasons. Yeah, it could be a lot. It could be something from childhood. It could be something from adulthood. It could even be, they broke up with someone that was really special to them, and it's really hard for them to, have any type of sexual intimacy towards someone else because of that. So there are many reasons, but it's, I actually have a video that I sell. It's called Fire Starter. It's for members only. So guys that buy either Pussyology or Sex Stallion training can access Fire Starter, which gives them the video that they can follow along to, showing them the way to do tantric testicle massage. And that really helps guys a lot. It's only a 2 to 3 minute practice. They can do it in the shower, and it's something that's life-changing.
I feel like there needs to be a dating app for people who have only taken your course.
I really want to do that, actually. I wanted all of the guys that
I think I saw that on your page, right? You said, hey guys, like, would you want me to start this thing?
Yeah. Yeah, like all the guys that go through Sex Stallion training, I'll put them like on a page, and so women can find them.
They got their certified stamp. Yeah, they got their blue check mark for Sex Stallion training.
Yeah, they can put it on their Tinder profile, Sex Stallion certified.
Oh my God. I don't know. That might come across if someone doesn't know them.
I know it could, but because we know what type of work you do with them at the beginning is why it's so attractive.
Yeah. If someone walks around saying he's a sex stallion, I'm like, no, bro, you're not. I promise.
Like someone walking around saying they're enlightened. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
What are you?
What are you? Oh, that's funny. Okay, so another question from the Magic Mob. Big Cat asks, what should I know about pleasuring a woman that I probably wouldn't think to ask?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've touched on this a lot, but just being really connected and being in deep intimacy with her, slowing down. And a lot of people will think of Tantra as like slow sex and that it can be boring. And it's not about that. It's just slowing down to the point where you can be in tune with your partner's desires and really feel into her, what is turning her on, when her body is saying yes and when her body is saying no. And so being really aware and conscious of that.
Yeah, like learning her sexual love language. If anyone's read the 5 love languages, I feel like maybe
come
Tantra
out with a book for sexual love languages.
Right? Like break down what those are.
Sarah, maybe you can write it.
Yeah.
So one last magic mouth question, and it comes from a woman. Jacqueline asks, I feel awful saying this, but my husband has a small penis. The foreplay is great, but is there anything we can do to make the sex even better?
Okay. So, that's an interesting question because like I have sex with women and I can have great sex with no penis, and so I know that
Good point.
penis size isn't like the everything. And but at the same time, I also realize that different women have different preferences when it comes to penis size. And, some women prefer a larger penis, some women prefer a more average size penis, and to some women, it just doesn't matter at all. And so just like men have different preferences, women have different preferences. And if you're whatever your preference is, it is. Like I'm not saying you can't just change that, but you can still have really great sex. And unfortunately, I can't say like this is a way to necessarily guarantee making the dick bigger, but I have had guys go through the program and their partners have noticed their penis gets bigger as their Isn't that awesome?
I did not think you're going to come with a dick enlargement.
Maybe just from so much working out down there. No.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had guys come back and say, hey, she says it's bigger down there. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. Like every guy wants to hear that.
Yeah.
You think it has to do with the PC training? What do you think it's related to?
Yeah, I think it's just a combination of everything. It's bringing energy to that area of the body, and whatever you're focusing on is going to magnify. And it can even be an energetic thing where she feels like the cock has so much more presence, so much more power that it feels bigger. It's like if a guy, I've had sex with a guy with huge cock and he was like, most boring fuck of my life, right? Like I never wanted to have sex with him again. But then like,
don't we hear that all the time about big dick?
Right. Well, not necessarily, because I've had a tantric lover that had like super huge dick and he was amazing. He like orgasms that lasted 10 days.
And then oh my God, it out of your house in the clouds above, and you never were to see him again.
Right.
God?
That's really
like, where is that one? I need to call him up again.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's my gypsy lover.
Right. So I wonder too, if to go back to the question about the woman dealing with a small penis size of her husband, but trying to figure out how to make the sex better, is it again, both sided? I'm sure it's two-sided, like her figuring out how to bring more energy and blood flow and sensation to her vagina, and maybe mentally too, because I mean, I've had, I guess it would be called a wet dream for a female, even though it's not necessarily the same way a guy, but I've had an orgasm in a dream, so I know I can mentally orgasm, right? That's proved that to me. So if women can mentally orgasm, then finding ways to stimulate ourselves without even, having this large penis penetration, that it's possible. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In my women's course, one of the things that I teach women is how to have energetic orgasms, no touch at all.
Wow.
And so it's definitely possible. And like I said before,
is it just a mind thing, or?
Yeah, it's through movement, through breath, through sound, all those things. Yeah, it's just you're able to orgasm. I mean, I can orgasm that way within a couple of minutes, just from having so much practice with it. So women can definitely orgasm in many different ways, and definitely increasing sensitivity will help. And one thing that I've actually done before, I use a jade egg, and you can actually insert that, and you can have it inside while he's inside too. And so
I've heard of this.
Yeah. And so that way it takes up more space in there and, helps feel tighter.
And it doesn't hurt.
No, guys actually really, yeah, they really like it.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So it's called a yoni egg, right? A jade yoni egg.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They
So
named it after me.
So,
Oh
I
boy.
mean, that's been my personal experience. There are a lot of people out there that say the jade egg there's like woo woo, like there's no scientific proof, whatever. I'm just talking about my own personal experience. I've done it. It felt good.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
That's what matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask you about how you correlate jiu-jitsu with your workshops, your class, with your
Mhm.
everything to do with sex and male
Uh,
stallion training and such.
well, I mean, they're both such a big part of my life that there tends to be
Bleed into each
some
other.
overlap, but they're also very separate. Like I don't go to jujitsu and experience tantric sex.
Yeah, it's such an
I,
intimate sport. So it's interesting that I know because you use, the different belts, climbing the belt classes in a sex stallion training or in helping men get to this place, a better place sexually.
Or a white belt if they've never
Yeah.
been trained. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's true. And, it helps guys to look at sex in a different way because,
Mhm.
guys that understand martial arts. So, say, if two people one day were like, okay, we've never done jujitsu before, but we think we should start. Let's like roll out some mats and let's just do this. And, we can pull up some YouTube videos about it or read a book or two, and we'll just figure this out, but like they've had no training, they have no professor there watching them. And they're like, okay, so let's try out this move and we'll try. And then they get to like, maybe 4 moves and we're like, okay, we're doing really good at jujitsu. And they do like those same 4 moves forever, but no one's there actually saying like, you're doing this right or you're doing this wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like, so imagine that. And then these same 2 people trying to do those same 4 moves on their own for like 10 years. They wouldn't even get there because they'd be bored as fuck. For one.
Yeah.
They'd just be like, I think we're done. Like, we're kind of done with jujitsu. Let's find something else to do with our lives. Let's go watch a movie, which is what most couples do. And so, if you look at it from that perspective, whereas guys, they train BJJ and they're there on the mat 5 days a week. They've got a black belt that's been training at least 10 years, watching them, critiquing them, showing them 4 different moves every night of the week,
But
right? So
how many
like
days have they been training cunnilingus?
exactly. So, it helps guys kind of put it into perspective of like how little sexual training we actually have.
Right.
And why we should put some importance into that. It's an important
Yes.
part of a relationship.
And take the taboo away from not knowing something and just ask. And
Yeah.
women don't shame men for not knowing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And not that women know more than men do. A lot of women, they don't know either. And
For
so
sure.
it's very normalized in our culture for people to have coaches when it comes to athletics.
Yeah.
And so it kind of it's a bit of a learning curve for people to start to realize that it could actually benefit their lives to have a coach in the realm of sexuality.
Yeah.
But, when you look at it, it's like, it really makes sense. If the people who are masters in anything, they have coaches. The top athletes, we don't necessarily look at their coaches, but they have them, and their coaches are on their ass constantly training them, getting to where they are to become those masters.
That's right, y'all. We are training for the Sexual Olympics.
That's
So
right.
get ready for the gold. All right. We have a pick your poison from Rick on Facebook, and I love this one because it actually lines up with what you said earlier about men feeling like ejaculation feels like a crotch sneeze. Perfectly. Okay. Would you rather have an orgasm every time someone sneezes, or everyone in the room have an orgasm every time you sneeze?
Okay, say that again.
Okay.
I know.
When I say it, you got to visualize it because that's what makes it amazing.
It's a pick your poison.
Okay.
So yeah, those are our would you rather questions. So would you rather have an orgasm every time someone sneezes? So
Like every time someone in the
I should say
entire
this.
world sneezes.
Oh no,
Say it in
around
the room. Would you rather have an orgasm every time someone in the room with you sneezes, or
Okay.
everyone in the room have an orgasm every time you sneeze?
Probably the first one.
You'd rather have an orgasm every time someone in the room sneezes.
Yeah, there's more
It's really
chances.
awkward on a first date if they sneeze 4 times at the dinner table.
What about when you're on the
there's
airplane?
more chance of orgasm in that. I'm like,
That's true.
That's
You
true.
get to have more orgasms in your lifetime.
exactly.
But you give a bunch of orgasms the other way. Like you could just be sniffing pepper and sneezing in a room full of a bunch of people whenever you want everyone to
You could
feel
intentionally sniff pepper.
Yeah, but then again, you got to worry. Like, what if there's like an old grandma or grandpa? You're gonna give them a hard time? I don't know.
You really got to read the room.
Yeah.
There's too much pressure with that one. I'll take the orgasms.
Yeah, you take it on. What would you do, Jade?
I think that I would be the one to receive them this time.
You same?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. I want to have, but the thing is, what if I have to sneeze? I don't have like knock on something, but I don't have allergies usually of that type. Like I'm not usually a sneezy person, but I can make myself sneeze. Like if I look up at the sun or something, a bright light usually will cause it.
Yeah.
So I could technically kind of sneeze on command and it would be pretty fun. Like whenever Mercedes around, I just feel amazing. Oh my God. I don't know. These questions are hilarious, but okay. There's a few short questions we like to ask everyone who comes on the show. So first off, if you could hug your younger self right now, what would you say?
Have more orgasms.
How old is your younger self that you're hugging?
Yeah, how old is this girl?
Hey, I mean, kids as young as 2 years old have been seen to give themselves orgasms. And actually, there have been ultrasounds showing babies in the womb pleasuring themselves.
No way.
So, yeah, so it's actually very normal for us to give ourselves orgasms at any age.
Amazing. I wonder what that feels like to the mother when the umbilical cord is still attached or still on the, inside their belly.
No,
that's
probably think it's a
interesting.
hiccup.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, the baby's having hiccups in there.
That's funny. If you could have the whole world read one book, which would it be?
Let's see. I've read so many great ones. Of course, my mind, it's blanking out right now. What's the one that I want?
Give me a real sexual book or like something in that realm, because I feel like you're the person we're going to get that from.
Okay, so Sex at Dawn is really great. It was,
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, Sex at Dawn is fantastic because I feel like it gives people permission to create a new sexual narrative. And so we're all raised with a certain sexual narrative that we tend to live our lives by. We don't really challenge it. We don't question it. We just live our lives by it because it's how we've been programmed since birth. And Sex at Dawn shows so many options for the sexual narrative and really gives people permission to begin to explore one of their own. So I don't necessarily say that it's the gospel truth, that everything in there is 100% correct, but it's really just an eye-opening way of beginning to explore different ways to experience sexuality.
I love that answer.
One of Kyle's favorite books.
Yeah, it makes me actually wonder, because of a lot of the people we've interviewed that have that book on their bookshelf are in open relationships. So it makes me want to ask you, is that part of your relationship? Are you in open? Do you experience that? Are you good with that? Are you open to that? Are you open to open?
Am I open to open? Yeah, I'm open to all different possibilities, and I really think it depends on the specific person and the specific relationship and how that looks. And I've experienced both monogamous and open relationships, currently single, happily single. And yeah, I am able to date, but I love my life as it is. So yeah.
Yeah, that's always good. That's where to start, right? With you. All right. So if you could whisper one phrase to everyone on the planet, what would it be?
I love this. I was actually leading a guided meditation just a couple hours ago, for the women that are doing the course with me, the in-person course that starts in September. And at the end of the meditation, I have them repeat over and over, I am worthy, I am worthy, I am worthy. I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. I belong, I belong, I belong. And those are so core to the human experience. If we don't have those core, not necessarily needs met, but those core building blocks,
Yeah.
like really embedded into the unconscious mind, then it's hard to be strong, to have a strong foundation. So when I work with people, it's really starts with those beliefs.
I love that. I am
And
worthy, I am safe, I belong. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I am worthy, I am safe, I belong.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh, just let that sink in.
Yeah, I'm going to add that to my morning mantras. I am worthy, I am safe, I belong. Sarrah, before we let you go, can you tell us not only where people can find you online, but how they can sign up for your course? And I know you set up a promo code for our listeners, so.
Yes, so my website is tantricactivation.com, and that's TANTRIC, tantricactivation.com. I'm Sarrah Rose. Sarrah has 2 R's, SARRAH, Rose. And so I have 2 Instagram pages, whatever your preference is. Sarrah Rose Jiu-Jitsu is more of my jiu-jitsu journey. And then the Tantric Activation Facebook page gives a lot more of the sexual advice and all the fun stuff that we got to explore here. And yes, so Sex Stallion training is my online course for men. It's a 7-week course. It's a audio and video guide. It's done to be on your own, guys. You do not do this with a partner. It's a masturbation practice where I will guide you, and you do it. It's about 15, sometimes 20 minutes a day for 7 weeks. And this will guide you in the fundamentals of tantric sex. And it's a lot of fun. It's super sexy.
Yeah,
it's definitely not a boring way to spend 20 minutes of your day. And yes, so your code, go to tantricactivation.com, click on the tab that says Sex Stallion, and you will just add that to your cart. And in the coupon code area, it's Stallion 100, and you get $100 off of Sex Stallion training.
Sweet. Look at that, listeners, magic mobbers.
Yeah.
Let's say we never did nothing for you, huh?
I think we did a lot for you today.
Right? All right, Sarrah, this has been amazing. You've given us so many tricks and tools to use, and I know I'm going to bring them straight to my bedroom tonight. My husband's going to love it. So thank you so much for doing this work and supporting our men. Like I said in the beginning, being a champion for modern masculinity is something that is very close to my heart. And because Jade and I happen to be blessed with this incredible, largely male following who are hopefully open enough to receiving the tools you're laying out for them, I'm just so glad we got to have this conversation with you. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I definitely appreciate being here, and especially since you have such a big MMA following. That's exciting because it's close to my heart, being a jiu-jitsu girl. And yeah, I love these guys. I've been so welcomed into this community. Like been so blessed to be on some of the biggest pages in the martial arts community. Like McDojo Life had me on his page, Master Kin, and had me in one of his skits. And
amazing.
yeah, I'm actually going to go back in October, and we're going to film. I give you a little sneak preview.
Yeah.
The last one we did was for Valentine's Day, and now we're going to film one for Christmas. So Sarrah Rose will be Santa baby.
That's so cute.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Sarrah, I know you live in Austin, and on September 15th at the O4 Center on Lamar, we're having an event from 3 to 6 about deepening connection with Peter Craig. So,
oh, great. Yeah, I love Peter. He's one of my longtime friends.
Yeah.
Okay,
perfect.
He sings your praises.
Come on down. I'll be
Yeah,
in Austin too for it. It'll be great. We'll go to
Okay.
dinner or something.
Oh, great. Let's do it for sure.
Yeah, so we'll make sure to send you the info, and then we'll also, so we'll air this episode before then,
Okay.
and send you the videos we make. I'm sure you've seen some of the type of videos we make, but we'll send you some of those. It'll either air in the next 2 weeks or the next 3 weeks. So
Okay. All right. Great.
sometime in the next month.
Awesome. Well, thank you both so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right, girl, we will talk to you later. So you're all set. All you have to do is hit end the call, and we will have your audio on our side.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Bye.
Bye. Okay.
All right.
We crammed a lot in there.
Yeah, we rammed it right in, didn't we? Stuck it in. Didn't even put any lube on that sucker.
I thought that was going to take hours, but
we thought we were going to have to warm her up for hours, but now she just... Anyways.
No, that was good. I liked her a lot.
Great.
Hopefully she comes to the event too. So my magic trick, and I'm sure yours, has a lot to do with this episode. It's just to come often, masturbate often. I feel like a lot of people think that when we hear Sarrah say like masturbating and coming is really, really good for you. If you're single, it's kind of like, oh, but I am single, and I've had more, like I said in the interview with Sarrah, I've had more this last month than I've had in the last 4 years. So I think that it's really important to remember to put this in our self-care practice and in our self-love practice, because it is so good for us and it's so important for us. And I had completely forgotten that, because as a single mother of 2 kids, come nap time, I have dishes to do and fold laundry to fold. But I was noticing that my fuse was getting shorter and shorter, and I just felt a little bit more frustrated. And I hadn't had sex in 8 months, by the way. I'd maybe orgasmed 3 times in that 8 months by myself. But in a ceremony, I was kind of going there in my journey about just kind of going there about why am I so frustrated? Why am I so short fused? And a masculine energy came in and went down on me, and I orgasmed on the medicine.
Just to clarify, you're talking about an ayahuasca ceremony?
Yeah.
Okay, just because I'm sure the listeners.
Oh, sorry. I thought that I said that. So the
this male masculine energy came in, went down on you.
Yeah, let me just start over.
I felt like okay.
That got me off track a little bit.
I'm sorry.
So
in a ceremony, start there. In an ayahuasca ceremony.
So the way that I realized all this is I was in an ayahuasca ceremony, and I was kind of going there in my journey, just kind of trying to figure out like, why am I so frustrated and just kind of a short fuse. And yes, I'm a single mom of 2 toddlers. I'm with them all the time, but it felt deeper than that. And a masculine energy came in and went down on me, and I orgasmed on the medicine. And then I felt Mother Aya say, don't you feel so much more relaxed? And this is self-care. This is self-love. And it was such a strong message for me. And it was definitely the homework she was giving me, was to incorporate that daily. Not like, oh, when you have the time, make the time daily. And it's silly that I didn't, because it literally takes me it never takes me more than a couple minutes ever. I've told you before, I can do it with my pants on if I wanted to. I wish
That's
that
a
I
lucky thing.
yeah, I wish that I could give out tools for that, but all I can really say is like for me, it helps to flex my legs and to take deep breaths.
Well,
Um,
apparently Sarah has the tools. She told us just now that she can get you there.
yeah,
So I
right.
got to
But
figure
for
that out.
me personally, to be that quick, that's all I know.
Right.
Um, and then, um, yeah, I don't know. I might be lucky. I think I'm a little bit bigger down there than other girls are, like Chloe
What?
always says.
What?
I think
What?
I have like a bigger clitoris than other
Oh,
women.
clitoris. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. That might make me a little lucky. Um,
Yeah, more area to stimulate.
yeah. So yeah, it was silly that I wasn't making the time for it anyways, because it in 5 minutes I can give myself like 8 orgasms, and I never have less than three by myself. So
Hmm.
it was silly that I wasn't making the time, but now that I am making the time, um, I won't say that I'm less frustrated necessarily, but I feel like I'm caring for myself more. So I feel like I'm showing up for myself at the very least, you know?
Yeah. No,
So
I
that's my
100.
magic trick, is to show up for yourself and to incorporate masturbation into your self-care practice. And if that triggers you, if the words incorporate masturbation into your self-care practice triggers you, ask yourself why you feel shame there, because it's self-love. It's not shameful.
Right. We're sexual beings.
Yeah.
And I just add on top of that that orgasm is scientifically proven to release feel good chemicals and hormones, oxytocin,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the cuddle hormone, and dopamine, which is another feel good neurotransmitter. And they're proven to put you in a better mood. So just that alone, plus orgasms boost your immune system. They release the chemical DHEA, which helps balance your immune system, promotes bone health even, and it assists repairing tissues. I mean, like so many good things. And for guys especially, but women too, after an orgasm, your blood pressure actually drops, and that's why we can fall into a state of relaxation. And usually, it makes it really easy to fall asleep.
Mm.
It happens a little quicker for men than it does for women, but it's still just as powerful
I
in
didn't
both
know
of
that.
us.
Maybe I should move my
Masturbation time to
my
before
bed
bed.
because I do it at nap time.
That's a good call, girl.
Hmm.
It's a
All
good
right.
call. But I don't like the idea of you moving it too far into the night, because what if you just don't get
I
to
that
it?
was my concern.
So,
And nap
however you
time
got to
is
get
like
it
my
in.
little like treat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
made it
plus,
halfway through the day.
yeah. And plus, that's a good time to be like mellowed out, right? It's like halfway
Yeah.
through the day. So that's
Yeah.
probably not bad. Not bad for you.
Mhm.
So, my magic trick today, and I'm going to kick this off with something I don't talk about often, which is when I was 16 and taking birth control, I found lumps in my breast. And I was told that the birth control could have been the cause of it. So I stopped taking it. And I had to have 4 lumpectomies later in life, which is a story for another time. But unlike most women who spend the better part of their lives on synthetic birth control hormones, I've been not on those. So I've been really aware of my sex hormones for most of my life. And I've felt all the, highs and lows that come with that, especially when something's out of whack. So with that, I've spent several years now tracking my hormonal cycles. And if you're a friend of mine, I preach this to people all the time. They're probably all annoyed annoyed of hearing it by now, but um, I'm really aware of how each phase of my cycle correlates with how I interact in my relationships with others, and especially how I interact with my husband. Full disclosure, by the way,
Mhm.
when I first started tracking my hormones, I brought up to my husband that I wanted him to learn about my cycles and get on board with the whole idea. And he was kind of resistant, like most men are when it comes to anything to do with women's menstrual cycles. But luckily, he's recently opened up to learning how this info can improve our lives together. And I honestly, Jade, I think this has truly been something that's saved our marriage. Seriously.
Yeah, I
Um,
bet. I can typically tell where you're at in your cycle.
yeah, and I mean, already with me, I'm always you
Yeah.
literally text me something,
But
and I'll
I'm
be
not
like,
like that with all girls. I don't always think, oh, that's probably where they're at in their cycle. But with you, I can tell right away where you're at.
yeah, well, because we're
So I
kind of
think it's
tracking together.
stronger, and it's stronger for some people. Hormones affect some people stronger than other people, you know?
Oh, well, because I don't, like I said, that was why I prefaced it with my reason I don't, I'm
Yeah.
not on a synthetic birth control, because synthetic hormones in your body, like a birth control, will mellow out your ebbs and flows of these monthly cycles that we go through as women. And so, like I said, I feel my hormones and have for most of my life.
Mm.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm in my feelings. So that's why this is something I take so seriously. I'm so passionate about it. But I wanted to give you for instance on that. So during ovulation, lately I've been needing penetrative, that's hard to say. I've been needing deep penetrative orgasms from my husband in order to feel like okay, like literally in order to feel normal. And I think it's basically a way of tricking my body into thinking I'm getting impregnated. So every time I ovulate, that's been something I need to experience. And also during that phase of my cycle, I know I need lots of touch and words of affirmation from him. Otherwise, I get needy and very angry, very
Yeah.
angry.
I
And you
notice I
can
need
imagine,
validation. Yeah.
yes, validation's a good word for that too. You can imagine though what a needy, angry Mercedes. It's not
Hmm.
exactly the most sexually, sexual appetite inducing version of myself. And so before I was tracking this and figuring that type of thing out and figuring out all of my other nuances I've got going on related to my hormones, it was literally causing adverse effects from my husband, who didn't even want to be around me during certain phases of my cycle, especially ones when I wanted to be really sexual, right? Because I was pushing him away with the angry stuff that comes with that. But now that Chris is aware of all this, it's been a game changer, and it's been really useful in getting us on the same page in the bedroom and just in life in general. And I also wanted to add, I know this is a long magic trick, guys, but hang in there with me. So Chris is now tracking his own cycles, because yes, men have cycles too. And it's allowed him to define when he's most motivated to even just work, like, normal work stuff, or even work out. And certainly whenever he's most sexually energized, like tracking that has been huge. And even when he's most willing to get into like strange and deep conversations, which, as you can imagine, being married to me, there's no shortage of those. So for men, it may be more about tracking your moods in correlation to the time of day and the foods you're eating. And it won't necessarily be a monthly cycle for you the way it is for women. But I promise you, if you start tracking as many variables as you are able to on a daily basis, you will start to see some patterns, and those patterns will lead to some serious enlightenment, fellas. It's totally worth it. So my magic trick is to begin tracking your cycles. And women, there's many apps out there for tracking your menstrual cycles. The one I like to use personally is called Ovia. And for men, perhaps what you can do, since there's not really great apps for this, which maybe we'll fix that later. But what you can do now is start tracking like perhaps 5 variables that you record in a daily journal. And that could be sex drive, overall energy, mental focus, appetite, and mood, for instance. And if you really want to get after it, I'd record what you ate that day and the amount of exercise you got in. And I think you will definitely see some benefits in there. So give it a try.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that. If we could all get on the same page as that, I bet you it would make a world of a difference.
Literally the
Even
world
just
would be
friends
different.
and business partners.
I think this
Um,
would heal. I mean, this would
it
cause
helps
world peace.
us. It helps us. Yeah.
Faux show.
Yeah. All right, Magic Mobbers. Thank you so much for tuning in and taking this journey with us. If this episode held some magic for you, please share it with your friends and family. This would mean so much to us. And please don't forget to join us on our Instagram page at The Magic Hour and let us know what your favorite episodes have been so far. We appreciate all your feedback and want to know what's lighting you up.
Yes, we do. And by the way, guys, as you know, we release a new episode every Monday. So you can catch us again next week, or head over to the other episodes right now and give one of those a listen.
Yes.
We'll meet you there. Until then, be
Be a
a
light.
light.
Big thank you to @Raytone Royal for our intro jam, and to John Aaron Garza from Real in Motion Productions for producing the show. Stay magical, friends.
We need to do the intro one more, or no?
I don't think so.
We only did one run, right?
Yeah, but it was good. It was
Okay.
natural. All right, I'm gonna stop, and then we'll just record the show. If we're gonna do an ad, and then
I gotta take this wig off immediately.
I know. All right, let's see. All right, so I do want.
Do I look?
I'm not looking at you because I'm saving my
Oh.
notes. I
I'm
do.
still recording. John, put that in the blooper.